Hi, my name is Dorota Trapp. I'm a qualified nutritionist from Trapp Cooking School. Today I want to show you how to make a beef bone broth that is cooked for 16 hours and make a very nutritious food. It can be eaten by its own or used as a base for countless recipes. We have been utilizing this recipe for years. Originally, it has been passed on to us by the grandparents.
The bones you need should have a lot of cartilage and connective tissue and tendons. This is basically stuff that makes that stock like jelly later on. Marrow bones are good, but not the real deal. They contain a lot of minerals and of course bone marrow, which you can eat on its own, or when you cook it in the stock, it will just render itself into fat, and then you can skim that fat off and use it for cooking later. The third type of bone you need is a very meaty bone. Now here there's some good meat around those knuckles and lots of proteins in those tendons, but the meat on the bones will actually give the broth the really nice meaty flavor. To cook your broth, you need to boil the bones off once to get rid of all the leftover blood as well as the sawdust coming from bones sticking to them when the butcher cuts them with the bone saw. If you do not do that, your stock will not be as clean and nice tasting. Also those loose proteins which will fly around in your stock will most likely make the broth taste a little bit bitter and muddy. And by looking at it, you can see it would not make a very clear stock either. Once the bones are boiling in the water, then you remove them. Or even easier, just tip the whole content into your kitchen sink. Then thoroughly clean the pot and place the bones back into the pot. Cover with water and bring once again to the boil. Once the stock boils, you need to skim any of the upcoming foam for the first few minutes. Although you don't have to worry if you miss a little bit. If you do not skim that foam from the surface of the stock, it could make your stock later on cloudy, a little bit bitter and muddy, as these too are loose proteins. Now cook the stock anywhere between 6 to 24 hours and always assure the bones are well covered with water. What you will find after a while is that a thick fat film forms on the top, which actually acts like a vacuum. And if the cooking temperature is kept very low, basically just around simmering, you will find that almost no water evaporates. And all you might need to do is to top the stock up every 4 to 5 hours with a bit of extra water. You will also notice there's some form of calcification forming on top of the stock and usually sticks to the side of the pots. Now this is basically proteins and minerals forming, so never get rid of that. When it appears, just loosen it and let it boil back into the stock, as it is very nutritious. And once you decide to stop boiling your stock, you add your vegetable only for the last 45 minutes. If you add your vegetables too early, you will find that they mush up and make the stock a little bit thick and not as clean or clear as it would be otherwise. Adding the vegetables too early will also decrease the shelf life of the stock, as it tends to go off quicker with all those vegetable particles in it. The other reason is that vegetables actually taste better when cooked just a little and not for hours and hours. Vegetables that are cooked shorter will give your broth a nicer and fresher flavor. Finally, strain the stock and store it in the fridge, and if you do not break the fat layer on the top, which basically acts like a vacuum, you will find that your bone broth will last in the fridge for up to 2 months. If the fat film is broken, then it will still stay for up to 10 days to 2 weeks in your fridge without any problems.
So let me tell you why bone broth is so healthy and why it is such a food trend at the moment. It contains the broken down material from cartilage and tendinous stuff like chondroitin sulfates and glucosamine, now sold as an expensive supplement for arthritis and joint pain. Hence, if you have those conditions, using bone broth can be beneficial for you. It is also rich in protein and fats that carry vitamin A, D, E and K. Traditionally, bone broth was used to help many ailments. It pleases the stomach, stimulates the appetite and prepares for digestion. When broth is cooled, it congels due to the presence of gelatin. The use of gelatin as a therapeutic agent goes back to the ancient Chinese. Gelatin was universally acclaimed as the most nutritious foodstuff. Gelatin was found to be useful in the treatment of a long list of diseases. Babies have fewer digestive problems when gelatin is added to their milk. Gelatin is hydrofluoric colloid, which means that it attracts and holds liquids. It facilitates digestion by attracting digestive juices to the food in the gut. If you serve it with fermented foods such as kimchi or sauerkraut, you will make it extra healthy, tasty and gut-friendly due to the abundance of probiotic bacteria. It is a healthy and light food that we can all benefit from when added to whole food diet. Thank you for watching. Please share it with your friends. If you found this information useful, and visit dorotatrapp.com or trappcookingschool.com for more health tips and free recipes. Thank you.